Unix is a family of operating systems that's been around for a really long time, but is still the underlying operating system for software that we still use today, like Mac OS and Android. When we say Unix in this class, we're sometimes referring to the command line applications that make up old Unix systems. One thing to keep in mind is, as I introduce Unix, is that although we typically have one user per computer for our PCs, Unix was built to be multi-user. We'll interact with Unix systems through what's called a shell, or an application where we can type in commands. Now, our file system is a hierarchy, and there are a few special directories in this hierarchy. There's the root of the hierarchy, which is called /. There's the current user's home directory, which is called tilde. Remember that Unix was built for multiple users. And the directory that contains the current directory, or the parent directory, is called .. So here's a rough outline of what my file system looks like. You can tell that it's a tree, with the root or the / directory being at the top of the file system hierarchy. Under here we have three subdirectories: applications, systems, and users, and my home directory is under /users/Steve, or I could also just call it tilde. I have in my home directory a documents directory with 2 files in it, and I have a desktop directory. Other users will have their own separate documents and maybe desktop directories as well. Some of the most important commands to know for Unix are basic navigation commands. In a Unix shell, you're always working in some working directory, which we can print using the pwd or print working directory command. We can change directories with cd or change directory, or we can list the contents of the current directory with the ls or list directory contents command. So here I'll use this file system hierarchy that I showed before, and I'm going to indicate my working directory with this red dot. So if I start out in my home directory, or tilde, and I type in cd/, then this is going to move me to the top of the file system hierarchy. If I cd tilde, then I go back to my home directory. If I cd documents, then I enter the documents directory. If I cd ... then I go back to its parent directory, which is Steve. If I do that again, then I go back up to users. And if I do that again, then I go back up another parent to the root. So let's see this in an actual terminal. I'll first run pwd and find out that I'm in my home directory. I type in ls to figure out what's in my current directory. And then I'll open up my documents directory and I'll see what's in there using ls. Now note that when I type in pwd, then I can see that I'm in my documents directory. From there, I can see what's in my Adobe directory. So I'll type in cd Adobe. I can verify that I'm there and see what's in there. I can go back a level by typing cd ... and now you can see that I backed up from documents/Adobe to documents. And I can go back up one more level by typing cd ... and now I'm back in my home directory. I can go to the root of the file system by typing cd/, and I can see what's in there before going back to my home directory. So navigation is all well and good, but it's nice to actually be able to work with files instead of just navigating. So I can make a directory by typing in mkdir. I can copy a file with cp, can create an empty file with touch. I can read a file with less, or print a file out to the terminal with cat. So on the right hand side here, I have a Finder window in which I'm in the directory 106 Unix example. And in my terminal, I'm going to enter that directory. Now, when I do an ls, you can see that I see the same two files, censusstatepopulations.csv and image.png, that I see in my Finder window. I can run less, which allows me to see the contents of the censusstatepopulations.csv file, and as soon as I type this command, my terminal window will show the contents of this file. Now, once I'm in less, then I can see the contents of this file. I'll navigate using the arrow keys, and when I'm finally done, then I can type in Q to exit out of less. Alternatively, I could just print the contents of that file to my terminal using cat. I can create a new subdirectory using mkdir, and I'll name my directory subdir. Note how the directory appeared in the Finder window as soon as I typed my command. I can navigate around a little more by entering that subdirectory, and I can confirm that it's actually empty before leaving it. And I'll create an empty file with touch. I'll create a new file, examplefile.txt, and note again here how it appears in Finder as soon as I run the touch command. And then I don't recommend doing this, but if you're first starting out, you can remove a file using the rm command. So I'll remove that empty file that I just created. I can also copy the image.png file to create a copy in the same directory. Now, the reason that we're learning these Unix commands is that we'll also run Python from the command line. Unlike those other commands that we just went over, however, we need to first install Python before using the Python command, and we'll discuss the Python command in the next video.